Hello, I'm Forrest Jr. and welcome to part 3 of Useful Guitar Licks. This one is a little bit more advanced. I'm going to show you some really cool riffs that I've done in the studio in Nashville and abroad. But basically, I'm going to try to explain my concept of the guitar in this video. How to approach soloing, or how to approach where you're going to be at. The first thing we need to do is tune up, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now where we're going with this, the first thing I want to show you is when you are soloing, you can either use scales, or you can just solo in and out of chords, which is pretty much what I do. I solo in and out of chords. I know where the chords are on the fretboard, and then I use those positions for my solos. Once you get this down, then it's going to be seamless, because you won't have to worry about, okay, my scale is gone. I've gone from one end of it to the other end of it and back down to the other end of it. Now what do I do? Okay, there's always a different position that you can play that solo in. As long as you're playing the notes that are in the chord relevant to whatever key you're in, then you're going to be able to find something to play. So, for example, say we're in the key of G. Okay, just first example here. Okay, you have the notes in the G chord. And you could play banjo rolls and come up with a solo. You know, anything. I mean, if the music is going on in the background, you can have something there, you know. You can play it two different ways. Here's your open G. And then or you play it up here. You know, anywhere that you play it. The point is that you have different patterns that you can play chords in. Okay? These are all different places that you can play. You can find the same notes. So instead of just using a scale, you find notes in and out of those chords, and you can slide into or out of those notes. So say I'm in the key of G, and I'm playing a bar method, you know, G here. Okay, I'm going to slide up to each note for that G chord. So basically what I'm doing is I'm playing every string just like this. Okay, but I'm doing them individually, so it's okay. Because all I'm doing is I'm playing, okay? Which is the same thing as if you played them all together, it'd be. But you tear them down and it sounds pretty interesting. You got something to go with. Okay? Oops. Anyway, you see where I'm getting at. And then you can go to your 4 chord, which would be a C in this case. You can play it like this, and you can go, okay. But in order to get that C, okay, you have to go up to the G chord. Okay? If you're playing it like this, all you have to do is go. Okay? So all you're doing is you're playing a half step down on each note. When you know what you're going to do ahead of time, you have a little bit more room to work, because you can slide up to it or you can come down from it. So let me give you an example of that. Because I'm coming down on this one. Okay. Okay, instead of coming up. Okay. And instead of doing that, I'm going. Coming down to it. So you can play a half step below or above all of the notes in the chord and come up with some really interesting things. So that's kind of my approach on playing lead. I try to I don't even think about it anymore, but when I first started doing this, I was playing scales. When I first started playing lead, I was playing scales that I came up with myself. It wasn't, your typical pentatonic or whatever. I had certain scales that the chords were there, but the notes were pleasing to my ear because I knew that they were in either a major chord or a minor chord or a augmented or diminished or whatever. And, I came up with my own scales out of that. I never really had any formal training on it. But what I learned out of that is that whatever chords that I was playing or somebody else was playing and I had to solo over, I had free reign. I mean, it was like, open house on those chords. I could play a note below and bend up to it, or a note below and slide up to it, or hammer onto it, or a note above and slide down or pull off to it. And it gave me a lot of different ideas that I could play with. I'm going to break down my theory on playing around chords real quick. I'm going to go ahead and play a guitar solo. I'm not going to break down the solo, but I'm going to break down where I'm at, what positions I'm in. So this will be over the key of E, okay? And I'm just going to roll on through some stuff, and then I'm going to go back and show you exactly where I was at and what chords I was hitting on and kind of rolling into and out of and up to. So here we go. So basically what I was doing is I was starting with I was starting with that position, and I was moving up to this position, okay? And then I was coming back down that one, and then I moved back up to that was just a passing thing, but I was basically playing this chord, okay, which is E, okay, and then I ended up going up to here, where back up to another E, just like this one, but 12 frets up, okay. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm coming from there. I'm always trying to find that next chord. I'll move up to the next chord. That was really, really simple. There was not a lot of sliding into or sliding out of the chord, because you can work your way around it. You know, you can work below it or above it a half step, and it just sounds seamless. You can go a half step above and a half step up. And let me try another example here in the key of A, where I'm going to move in and out of different chord positions, but I'm going to go ahead and change keys, or not keys, but I'm going to go ahead and change the chord to, say, the 4 chord or the 5 chord, which in this case, if it's an A, that would be a D or an E. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then I'll try to break that down too. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm playing an A position like this. And I'm just working anything that I can in and out of that A chord. Anything that I can get out of that chord while my finger is still there. Instead of playing like scales, you're always moving your fingers. But if you can keep a chord in one position, you can just seamlessly flow through things. And then to move up to a D chord, all you got to do is press down here, because you're already there. You can do double stops, you know. Okay, and then to do your D chord, you know, you're already there. Okay, and then back to your A chord, which you're just playing your E chord, but you're playing it in this position. Okay. And in that right there, I went. What I did is I bent this up to this position. That's okay. Let me show you a couple of riffs now, a couple of cool licks. I'm going to go through a few things out of one of my songs called "I'm in Love with My Guitar," and break them down for you and show you what I'm doing. I don't want to leave you with nothing but theory and you know, ideas of how I play things. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple things here too. This one is the intro lick for "I'm in Love with My Guitar." Now, basically what I'm doing here is I'm starting with an A chord, playing the A string, and then playing the G string at the 2nd fret with my ring finger, and then hammering on to the 3rd fret on the E string. Okay, back to the A, and bending that from the 5th fret on the G string, and then hammering on and pulling off, and then okay. And then going up to the G, not playing the A string, just the D, G, and then hammering on to the D string at the 4th fret, and then the 2nd fret on the G string. Okay. banjo roll that you're playing with your right hand. And then do the first part again. And then this little ascending. Okay. That type of a riff. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I play it a little bit different every time, but that's basically it. So let me play that up to speed again so that you can kind of get the feel for it. One more time. Okay. Now one of the cool solos that I did in this was over the D chord. Over this, it makes me feel better when I'm under the weather. Pick until my fingers bleed, and then I pick some more. So this riff is over the D. Towards the end of the song, it's at the end of the song when it's just going back and forth, just cutting heads with the dobro part and the pedal steel player, just fiddle, keyboards, whatever you got. I think all I had on here was keyboards, fiddle, and dobro, and steel and guitar. But well, let me go through this lick. This is a really cool one. I'm going to break it down too. It's kind of unorthodox because I hammer on and play a couple notes that don't really work in it, but as passing tones they work really well. So here we go. Okay. That's the lick. And I'm still playing it over a D. Okay. Basically what I'm doing is sliding up to the second fret on the E string, and then playing an open D, and then sliding up to the fourth fret on the D string from the third. Oops, here we go again. Now the second part of that goes up. It starts on the 10th fret, and then I play that open. Okay, which is okay. So let me try that again. One more time. Now when you play it slow, it doesn't sound all that spectacular, but when you're playing it really fast, it's really cool if you can do it seamless and hammer on from the open E. So let me go ahead and break that down again. Or play it fast again. There's another lick at the end of that song that I did that I actually tuned the E string down to a D. And it was a something like that. So I don't remember exactly what I played on it, but basically I tuned the E string down to a D so that I could get this somewhere in there. Let me tune it back up. pattern that I used in that, instead of going up to, I used this, it's meandering in and out of the D chord, because, okay, just moving up half steps, just trying to make it seamless. Because you can sit there and play that for forever. Just sit there and say we're in the key of A and we're going to be doing some fast song. When you go to your D chord, you know, you got anything you can do. Let me break that down. It's you can play an open E, okay, and bend, pull off from the first fret on the B string, okay, so, and sliding up to the fourth fret on the G string, and anything that you can use in or around that D chord while you're doing it, because that's actually the note there. And you have an open D string that you can play with. You just have endless possibilities. Another thing that I threw in there was I started over in A, but it's an ascending lick that I use a lot, and it's a lot of open strings. Just let it ring out. Let's see. Okay. Now let me play it fast. So it's kind of a cool lick. There's a couple different variations on that, but let me show you this one. That's an open E. And then playing the same note on the B string. That 7th fret on the G string. And then playing an open B string, because that leaves you the, see? But instead of going, open G. So real slow. And fast again. I use that one a lot. A lot of, you know, those train beat type country songs. Another variation on that would be over a D. Would be a something like that. Okay, and basically all I'm doing there is starting at the 5th fret again on the A. However you want to end it. So let me just kind of throw a few of these things together. I'm going to jam in the key of A. I'm just going to go ahead and take this will be the last of this video. I'm going to go ahead and jam over the key of A and just play through some of these licks that are meandering in and out of chords. And you can actually see where the positions are. When my hand moves to a certain area, you can see that I'm playing everything in or out of that chord. So here we go.